The sun. It was the best alarm clock in the world. No jarring buzzing, no insistent beeping. Just a gentle, warm invitation to start the day. It was nature's way of saying, "Wake up, sleepyhead, there's a whole world waiting for you." And on this particular morning, just a golden beam was making its way through Sarah's window, painting the room in hues of amber and gold. It was a promise of warmth, a whisper of adventure. It tiptoed across her patchwork quilt, a colorful landscape of memories stitched together. Then it tickled her nose, a playful nudge that coaxed a smile onto her face even before she fully woke up. Sara, 12 years old, with a spirit as bright as the morning sun, loved that every morning on the farm felt like a brand new adventure waiting to unfold. Each day held the promise of discovery, of learning, of simply being present in the beauty of the countryside. Outside, Reginald the rooster, a proud and punctual fellow, crowed with all his might, greeting the day with a resounding cock-a-doodle-doo. It was his daily announcement that the sun had indeed risen and that it was time for everyone to get moving. Sara stretched her arms wide, reaching for the sky, and breathed in the sweet scent of grass and earth, a fragrance that was uniquely farm-fresh. It was a blend of wildflowers, damp soil, and the promise of a day's work well done. She heard the gentle mooing of the cows in the pasture, a comforting sound that spoke of contentment and peace, and the leaves rustling in the wind created a symphony of nature, a gentle melody that filled the air. Hopping out of bed with a burst of energy, she pulled on her favorite pair of overalls, the ones with the patched-up knees and the pockets full of treasures she'd collected on her adventures. And then she tied her hair back with a bright yellow ribbon, a splash of sunshine against her brown locks. It was her signature look, a symbol of her cheerful spirit. She paused for a moment to make a silly face in the mirror, sticking out her tongue and wiggling her eyebrows. It was a little morning ritual, a way to remind herself not to take life too seriously. Then she smiled, a genuine heartfelt smile that reflected her happy and ready spirit. Downstairs, the tantalizing smell of pancakes drifted up, a warm and inviting aroma that promised a delicious start to the day. But before she could indulge in that tempting treat, she had her own breakfast to serve first. Her responsibilities called, and she was eager to answer. Her animal friends were waiting patiently, their stomachs rumbling with anticipation, hungry and eager for their morning meal. They knew Sara would never let them down. Boots on, ready for anything, she waved goodbye to the sleepy cat, curled up on the porch swing, still lost in its dreams. And with a skip in her step, she stepped out into the bright morning, ready to embrace whatever the day might bring. The day was calling her name, and Sara was more than ready to answer. She was a farm girl through and through, and this was her world. Every day on the farm was a good day, a chance to connect with nature, to care for the animals, and to simply appreciate the simple joys of life. For Sara, each morning on the farm began the same way, with a mission to ensure every creature, big or small, started their day with a full belly and a happy heart. Her first stop was always the chicken coop. A flurry of clucks and feathers greeted her as she approached. The chickens, sensing her presence, erupted in a symphony of excited sounds. The chickens cheered her arrival. Breakfast time. They knew what her footsteps meant. A feast was about to be served. She scattered feed, tossing handfuls of grain across the yard, watching as the chickens pecked eagerly at the ground, making sure even shy little Pip, the smallest of the flock, got her share. Sara knew each chicken by name and personality, and she made sure no one was left out. Gathering eggs, carefully placing each one in her basket, was next on the agenda. Surrounded by her feathered friends, Sara felt like the leader of a very important club, a club dedicated to friendship, food, and the simple joys of farm life. Next, with her egg basket in tow, she visited the pigs, Penelope and Percy, her two pot-bellied pals. They greeted her with happy snorts and enthusiastic tail wags, their excitement palpable as she approached their pen. She poured their breakfast into the trough, a mixture of grains and vegetables that they adored. She stood back, laughing at their enthusiastic munching and the way they jostled each other for the best spot at the trough. Feeding the animals was more than a chore. It was a joy, a highlight of her day. It was a connection to the land and the creatures that shared it with her. Sara patted Penelope, scratching her behind the ears, earning a contented grunt in response. She latched the gate, making sure her friends were safe and sound within their enclosure, and smiled at the happy animals, their contentment radiating through the morning air. She loved starting their day off right, knowing that she had played a part in their happiness and well-being. The animals' simple joy, their unbridled enthusiasm for food and companionship, reminded her to enjoy the little things, to find happiness in the everyday moments. With the chickens and pigs content, their bellies full and their spirits high, Sara's heart felt full, brimming with warmth and satisfaction. She was proud of her morning's work, of the care and attention she gave to her animal friends. The farm was alive and happy, buzzing with the energy of contented creatures, and it was all because she cared, because she took the time to nurture and appreciate the simple beauty of farm life. With the sun peeking over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Sara eagerly headed to the big red barn. The morning air was crisp and carried the scent of hay and earth, a familiar and comforting aroma that always made her smile. She knew her furry friends were waiting, their gentle eyes and rumbling stomachs anticipating her arrival. Inside the barn, sunlight danced in golden beams, illuminating dust motes that floated lazily in the air. The old wooden structure seemed to hum with life, a testament to the generations of animals and farmers who had sought shelter and sustenance within its walls. Daisy the cow, a gentle giant with a black and white coat, greeted her with a soft moo and a nuzzle against her outstretched hand. Her warm breath tickled Sara's skin, a welcome greeting from her bovine companion. Sara grabbed a pitchfork and began to distribute the fresh hay to Daisy and the other cows, making sure each one had a generous portion. The cows munched contentedly, their rhythmic chewing filling the barn with a soothing sound. She took the time to call each by name, whispering words of affection and appreciation to her bovine friends. They seemed to understand, their large brown eyes gazing at her with a sense of trust and affection. Buttercup, the most playful of the herd, tried to nibble her overalls, her soft lips tickling Sara's leg. Sara laughed, gently pushing her away, but secretly enjoying the cow's playful antics. Clover, always the shy one, stayed back, observing from a distance. Sara made sure to offer her some extra hay, hoping to coax her out of her shell. Feeding the cows was peaceful, a quiet start to the day that allowed Sara to connect with nature and appreciate the simple rhythms of farm life. It was a moment of tranquility before the day's other tasks began. After the cows, Sara moved on to the sheep pen, where a chorus of bleating greeted her. The lambs bounced around with boundless energy as Sara filled their trough with fresh, cool water. They jostled and nudged each other, eager to quench their thirst. One particularly bold lamb with a fluffy white coat nibbled her fingers, its tiny teeth tickling her skin and making her giggle. She gently scratched its woolly head, feeling the surprisingly soft fleece beneath her fingertips. Last, but certainly not least, she visited Barnaby, the old horse, who resided in a cozy stall at the end of the barn. She had saved the best treat for him, bringing him a crisp, juicy apple, its red skin gleaming in the morning light. Barnaby eagerly crunched the treat, his strong teeth making short work of the apple. Sara wrapped her arms around his strong neck, burying her face in his soft mane. The barn was filled with the sounds of content animals, a symphony of moos, bleats, and gentle munching. Sara's morning chores were done, and the animals were happy and well-fed, their needs met for the time being. The morning felt complete, a sense of satisfaction washing over her as she surveyed her handiwork. The farm was ready for the day, its inhabitants nourished and content, ready to face whatever challenges and joys it might bring. With the animals fed, Sara moved to her favorite place, the garden. Rows of tomatoes, lettuce, squash, and corn made a rainbow of green. The air was fresh, scented with strawberries and basil. A sign read, "Sara's Garden, please grow happy." She grabbed her trowel and basket, kneeling between the beans. Weeding, watering, and checking for bugs didn't feel like work to Sara. She talked to her plants, believing it made them grow sweeter. Each weed pulled was a small victory, making room for her vegetables. She imagined the delicious meals her garden would provide. The zucchini blossoms promised more to come. Bees buzzed, helping her garden thrive. Sara felt proud her care made the garden flourish. The garden was a team effort, and she was its heart. Every day it grew because she loved it. Sara's basket filled with weeds as she moved to the carrot patch. She hummed a tune, turning weeding into a peaceful dance. A green caterpillar caught her eye. She gently relocated it to a wildflower. Even the smallest creatures had a place on the farm. Ladybugs and other tiny friends made the garden lively. Sara thought about how seeds became food with patience and care. You couldn't rush a carrot, just like life. Her back ached, but her heart was light. The garden looked tidy and happy in the sun. She had protected it, and soon it would reward her family. Hard work in the garden always paid off. It was the best kind of trade. Sara felt strong and satisfied. The garden was ready to grow. After washing up, Sara followed the scent of fresh pie into the kitchen. Grandma greeted her with a smile and a strawberry rhubarb pie, made from their own garden. A hard-working gardener deserves a reward, Grandma said, serving a slice with melting vanilla ice cream. Sara sat at the old kitchen table, savoring every bite. As she ate, she told Grandma about her morning, the crowing rooster, bossy hen, and bouncing lambs. Grandma listened, her eyes twinkling. These moments together were special, filled with stories and laughter. Grandma taught her more than chores. She taught kindness and patience. They shared memories of the farm and Sara's grandfather. The kitchen was filled with warmth and joy. Sara felt loved and at home. The first bite of pie was pure heaven. Flaky crust, sweet strawberries, tangy rhubarb, and melting ice cream. It tasted like sunshine, hard work, and love. Every ingredient had a story from their farm. "It's the best pie you've ever made," Sara exclaimed. Grandma winked. "The secret is berries picked with a happy heart." Sara believed it. Her happiness was baked right in. As they talked, Sara's tiredness melted away, replaced by a warm glow. Sharing pie became a cherished memory. It was about more than food. It was about connection. The quiet moments balanced the busy ones. Looking out the window, Sara saw the garden and fields, feeling proud. The work was its own reward, and sharing it all with Grandma made it perfect. As the sun dipped low, Sara's dad called her for a tractor ride. She climbed up beside him, feeling on top of the world. They rumbled past endless rows of corn, bathed in golden light. The farm glowed in the evening sun, the golden hour. They rode in peaceful silence, just enjoying the view. Cows rested, deer darted at the wood's edge. These quiet moments made farm life special. Nature's beauty unfolded around them. As the sun set, Sara leaned against her dad, feeling safe and happy. The day's work was done. Gratitude filled her heart. With the tractor parked, Sara sat on the porch, watching the stars appear. The sky deepened, and crickets began their nighttime song. She remembered the day's simple joys, feeding animals, working the garden, sharing pie. It had been an ordinary day, but it felt like the best ever. Sara realized happiness came from doing things that mattered. Hard work made her feel strong and connected to the land. The love she gave the farm came back to her as deep contentment. A firefly blinked nearby, making her smile. She felt grateful for her family, the animals, and the farm. Her heart was full of joy for simple things. As her mom called her in, Sara took one last look at the stars. She was tired in the best way. Tomorrow would be another beautiful day on the farm.